September 30th, 2019, Cameroon's Prime Minister, Chief Dr. Joseph Dion Kuti, chaired the Grand Measured National Dialogue in Yaoundé. And the Measured National Dialogue was to look into the different problems of Cameroon to propose meaningful solutions specifically to the ongoing Anglophone crisis. After days of discussion, argument among the delegates, resolutions were reached out and proposed solutions were made to Cameroon's President Paul Biya, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, #1 statesman of the Republic. And the proposals that were sent to the head of state had two major messages. One of the message was that effective decentralization should be fostered in Cameroon. The second message was that a special status be accorded for the people of North and Southwest region to look into their specificity as far as their cultural diversity is concerned, vis-a-vis looking at national unity and the framework during which Cameroon became one and indivisible nation after the 1961 debacle. In all of these, a lot were said about the Anglophone crisis and other solutions like the disarmament center or the demobilization center, which is still ongoing and it still continues to receive armed separatist group who keep dropping their arms on daily basis. Within this framework, there is a policy that the government stated for effective decentralization to come into play and for the special status to be well understood by the common man. There is need for the regional council to be formed, and the regional council need to follow the democratic process in which Cameroon had envisaged in 1990 when the freedom of speech and freedom of political party and multi-party politics was launched in 1990 by Cameroon's President Paul Biya. As regional councillors are gearing up today to elect their leaders who will by default define the content of the special status, the separatist group in the north and southwest region of the country have imposed a lockdown as far as that is concerned, as a measure to disrupt the ongoing process as far as electing the regional councillors is concerned. Today's edition, the motion is, will the separatists impose curfew or lockdown affect the regional council elections within the north and southwest region, and what will be the outcome of regional councillors after they are elected? Plus, disgruntled chiefs within Kmer division are not happy with Cameroon's president for 450,000 francs sent to them as far as campaign is concerned, to be divided among the chiefs, with each chief to have 5,000 francs to campaign for the regional council election. This is House of Commons with me, Thamai Javis. A happy Sunday to all those of you watching us from Moya, my chief town where I come from, and happy Sunday to you, the politicians who are watching today's program. Happy Sunday to all those who have been taking time to view this program, especially Esther from Yaoundé, hoping that one day our panelists will get to see you. We want to say that we kickstart today's edition with the motion, will the separatists impose a lockdown affect regional council election that is ongoing as we speak right now within the north and southwest region as far as that is concerned. Joining us to discuss on this issue, we have a Pan-Africanist who is gearing up for an event that will bring together key stakeholders in Africa and beyond to discuss on African unity and effective strategy in order to harmonize and unite Africa, in which the culture and identity of Africans will be projected, and why not looking at the aspect where African culture needs to be exported to the Western world, with the Westerners becoming acculturized from the African perspective. Professor Mark Akumong, you're welcome to the program and a happy Sunday to you.
Thank you very much, Tamai, and to my fellow panelists who are here, and to the million viewers of my media. I want to say that it is an opportunity to be here again this morning to discuss on issues that are actually important towards the growth and development of Africa, and why not Cameroon in particular. Nation building is supposed to be the primary objective and goal of every citizen of a nation, and that is why we are here today.
Thank you very much, Professor. And equally in the studio, we are expecting a CPDM militant Robert Kedia Malafe, who indicated that he will take part on today's edition of our program. And why not? Equally, we're expecting your messages as it keep coming on. Here in the studio, we are also in the company of a civil society activist who has been there to preach the concept of national unity vis-a-vis respecting the territory, the cultural specificity and the development strategy of Cameroon. He believes that for Cameroon to be developed, we must first of all address the political institution that must be responsible in ensuring that each individual contribute its quota without bias of where they come from and keeping aside tribalism, regionalism, nepotism. And he says Cameroonians are Cameroonians, and that we must look beyond what we claim to be cultural identity and embrace our different ideologies with respect to what we want to see the nation to become. He is Emmanuel. Mr. Emmanuel, you are welcome to the program, and thanks for having you here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tamai Jarvis, once more for the confidence. I take this Sunday to dedicate Cameroon into the hands of the God Almighty, a nation that has been held hostage by a few devils, and we think that dedicating Cameroon into the hands of God today is Sunday, because right now as we speak, I think the only thing that can save Cameroon from the numerous mess in which they found themselves is only God.
Here in the studio, we have another civil society activist or advocate who is been very, very vocal in ensuring that we respect the Constitution. His number one priority is that if laws are made, they should be respected, and nobody should be given the pride of place to be above the law or below the law. Song Derek, welcome to the program, and thanks for having you, an economist too.
Thank you very much, Jarvis. Thanks to the million viewers of my Media Prime and its management that is doing its best to make sure that we are always on air to share and contribute in our little quarters. Like you said, normally countries make law for just everybody, but our funny country, the Comedy Republic of Cameroon, makes law to support those who are in power, and that's the shame we have. The laws automatically should be for everybody, and if you commit a crime, they should throw the book at you. Nobody should be above the law, and that's what we advocate for every day. But unfortunately, in the Comedy Republic of Cameroon, as we are in, things are always falling apart. And we hope that we're going to have a wonderful deliberation today with Prof. Mark in his presence, Mr. Ndium Emmanuel, and our other panelists who is going to join us. We pray that our contribution should be positive.
The independence of Ghana would have been meaningless unless it is linked with the total emancipation for its different African states. Ghanaians will tomorrow head to the polls to elect their leaders. As far as democracy is concerned, Ghana happens to be the most stable democracy in Africa since the emergence of late J. Rawlings, when he took over power in the late 80s as president and military president, reinstated democracy and maintained the two-term mandate, hand over the state to the constitution to Ghanaians, and decided that the two-term mandate must be respected in Ghana. Above all, he publicly executed those who were caught being corrupt and misusing state funds. That is J. Rawlings. J. Rawlings is dead and will be buried this December. As far as that politics in Africa is concerned, this is something that is making news. Ghana's elections tomorrow. I begin with you, Professor Mark Akumon. Briefly, I want us to look at Ghana. What is making news in Ghana? For diving straight to our topic today, regional elections 2020. The separatists impose lockdown affect the election? But first, let's move over to Ghana, whose election is to be tomorrow, and the incumbent Nana Akufo-Addo and his rival, who was former president of Ghana, will still contest, and both men, alongside 15 other candidates, have pledged to accept the outcome of the elections, regardless of who wins.
That's proof of maturity in forging towards democracy. It is funny when people contest, and after elections, some of them start actually rejecting the results. That is purely common with us in Africa, though of recent I've seen another in the United States. It is getting to explain to us the fallibility of the so-called democracy. But in relation to what is happening in Ghana, I want to say they are setting up a standard which Africans should be able to follow. That is the dream, that one day Africa can rise up to the place where it can give direction to the world again. It can show the world a path again. You know, in relation to past history, to history, we know how Africa gave the world civilization, how it gave the world education. Today it seems as if we are the ones who are receiving, who are begging, but everything came from Africa. Even the so-called democracy, the Greeks actually took it from Africa and placed it in their own way, and America modified it in their own way, and today we need to bring it back the way it used to be. So that is exactly what is happening right now in Ghana. Nigeria has done its part, Ghana is doing its part, Malawi just of recent did it and showed the world that it's possible to remove an incumbent without any bloodshed, without any strike and nothing. And it happened. The Supreme Court showed that they had the audacity to rule things, and they were independent.
The contrast we have is with Guinea, Ivory Coast. The contrast we have with Guinea, Ivory Coast, and Tanzania.
When you call most of these nations, for example, calling the nation, most of the French nations you just called, that is what happens. In Tanzania, we already know that John Magufuli was supposed to win with a landslide. It was not something negotiable. It is true, with the effect and influence of the West, the opposition is struggling to raise eyebrows, but everybody knew that John Magufuli was supposed to win.
Okay.
But when you come to Ivory Coast, it is just obvious that the French has their own way, and they have planted that in that nation. And we go to Guinea, the same thing. Normally, they had drawn a constitution that permits two-term leadership, but they are the same persons who have gone against it. That's to show you how effective somebody like Rawlings was, where he developed a constitution for his people and he respected it. After his two-term mandate, he dropped out of seat. Though Ghanaians at times will claim he is the longest serving because he spent 20 years. He took some years to first of all fix the thing, then before drew the constitution, ran under as a civilian leader. In his two terms, four years, and he succeeded in doing what he had to do, and today it is being respected. That's what is important. And so I believe that Africa can give the world what it takes to actually do politics again.
Thank you very much, Professor Akumon. Briefly, we are looking at Ghana. Ghana, this is the 6th straight consecutive election, presidential election, unchallenged, without problems, and all candidates agreed to on the terms that they must respect the outcome, they must not carry out violence campaign, they must respect the COVID measures. But when we look at Uganda now, as far as is concerned, Bobby Wine has been babbled, and Bobby Wine has constantly been struggling to survive the outcome of an incumbent who happens to be Museveni. So what strategy can we learn from Ghana looking at the elections tomorrow?
Well, yes, the first thing you should know is that Ghana was an English colony. So we have to first of all make the difference, because most of these countries we are citing here, they are French colonies that have remained dependent. To date. So I'm not saying that British colonies are completely independent. But most or 99% of French African colonies remain dependent till today. You know, most of these presidents have often gone to Europe to say, we are your students, to their colonial masters. And so they still remain students. Colonies. We think this, the head of state of such colonies are still copying their notes, still reading, so that maybe one day they can have a gateway towards their independence. As for Ghana, and one thing again I would say is, most of these countries you cited never really had founding fathers. If you go into the history of Ghana very well, you will discover that by virtue of fate or by nature, Ghana had founding fathers. And each country, when you evaluate in Africa, that actually had founding fathers who had the love for their people at the time, still very much based on African values, left some legacy behind. And that legacy is what today has shaped the political atmosphere and the landscape in such countries like Ghana. Because even today in Ghana, you will discover that in many spheres of life, including the judicial system, Ghana is still standing up very tall. They have succeeded in practicing what we call separation of powers in Ghana. And that is why these people vying for the post of the president, they are aware that our judicial system, our legislative system, and our executive system are all independent. And they all want to respect it because they are following the footsteps of their founding fathers. So I think Ghana is an example to cue from.
Okay. Yeah, in the studio, let me come to you, Song Derrick. Song Derrick, this is an elections tomorrow for Ghana, 6 straight elections, and Cameroon is running their own regional council elections today. Vis-a-vis what J. Rawlings put forward, both candidates, all the 2 main candidates in Ghana have pledged loyalty to respect the outcome, and the 15 candidates too have equally pledged, because we have a total of 16 candidates vying in for the position of president in Ghana. This in contest, what can we learn as far as the democracy of Ghana is concerned and that of Cameroon?
I think maturity will teach us that a loss is a win somehow. And if you learn how to accept that you've lost, it means you've won. If you fail to accept that you've lost, you failed again. And with Ghana, if you study the system in most English-speaking African countries, Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, and the rest, you will realize that they are people that believe in accountability and they believe in democracy. This is a parallel to what we have in the French colonies, like the majority Cameroon situation, where the incumbents always believe that if they lost election, then it cannot go. In fact, what we should learn is that before going in for elections, we should be able to accept what is the outcome, and we should avoid the grip of power as the situation is. You know, when we talk of Ghana, we think of people like J.J. Rawlings, may his soul rest in perfect peace. We look at a dictator who was a constructive dictator. We look at a dictator who shaped the landscape of politics in Ghana. We look at somebody who had a vision, who laid down principles, and we look at somebody who was able to have the support of the people and decided to step down. It is not a different case with South Africa, where Mandela, when he was called to run again for office, he publicly told the people that despite the fact you're calling me to run and as president, I think it's time to give other people the opportunity to try. That's democracy. To think that everybody has an idea and has something to contribute is not the monarchical dictatorial system of Cameroon, where a king remains a king forever and nothing changed till death do us part.
Well, Cameroon is a democratic nation with multi-party politics launched in 1990 by President Paul Biya, and freedom of association, freedom of speech, and freedom of political parties were accorded to each citizen as their constitutional right, with consecutive presidential election organized from 1990 till date, 1992 till date. We cannot say that there is no democracy in Cameroon. No, there is democracy.
Cameroon has a window dressing democracy that I don't even want to go to the nitty-gritties of that, because what we have as political parties are people who are friends and they don't know where to chop. They don't know where to get their own bread, and so they form political parties to get their campaign pocket allowance and then pretend to run for elections, and later on we have political parties that are implanted by the regime in place, where they get votes and then give it back to
the crux of the matter.
masters.
Thanks very much. I just wanted us to get the clarity that we cannot, maybe the process here may be different, but there is a constitution gives room for democracy and freedom of speech and freedom of association and freedom of worship. Professor Akumo Mark, diving straight to the topic of today, which we are looking at regional council election. What can regional councillors who are going in for their votes today do in order to help solve Cameroon's problem of effective decentralization or accelerated decentralization? Can we say that this structure will help us to understand accelerated decentralization?
It is often said it is not good to judge a book from the cover, but certainly we have read several books that have been written in Cameroon, and so it is possible to judge the next one that is being written from the cover. When in 1996 the constitution was written and these regional councils were actually instituted inside, we expected it to have been respected over 24 years ago today, but today we are talking about doing it. It is better to be late than never. That's how we say it. Of recent, I think 4 years, 5 years back, or is it 10 years now? I think about 7 years today, the senatorial body was also created. They went through their first mandate and were expecting to see results, but today we are unable to account for any effective results that have come out of that house. Which implies that from what we have seen, most of these institutions that have been established in Cameroon are just there to, should I say, spend taxpayers' money without any effective results. Because I don't believe that we had been with senators for the past 7 years and we are not hearing anything that they are doing. And now we are talking of regional councillors. What would be the function of a regional councillor? Precisely that of the regional president, when there's still going to be a mayor that has been appointed. Let's accept that it is an accelerated decentralization.
Yeah, this time they say it's accelerated.
Is going
that
to,
time it was decentralization.
What is going to be decentralized when there are still central powers established? If the governor is still there, then it means that that house is not effective. Apart from that, we have for a very long period of time since 1990 had been having, let me say 1992, after having municipal councillors. We have been having mayors and we still have dues. Question: what are the results you have been able to see coming from the due, from the mayor when the due is present? When a due is appointed, has power more than a mayor whom the people have elected. Most of those in the northwest and southwest will claim that the councillors that are going to be elected today have nothing to do with them, because the persons we called municipal councillors will be going today to elect them. Nobody knows who elected them. We have accepted that there were over 3% of voters in the northwest and in the southwest, 6% even, who voted out of 100%. 6% cannot determine the future of 100% persons. Simply because there was a crisis which was hitting the ground and people ran away for their safety. Some were in the bushes, some went to Nigeria as refugees, some have been displaced all over Cameroon, but nothing was done to see that they should vote, which means the electoral code needs to be actually worked on in order to give favor to those who have been displaced to vote. But now, 3% voted for people who are going to be determining the entire regional councillors of the northwest and the southwest, to be precise. That has a great problem, because that will also mean that those you are going to be seeing elected are coming from one party. That already means that there is a problem with our democracy.
So it's no longer advanced,
and
because
it is no more.
a minister said we had advanced democracy, that we will soon be exporting our democracy to countries like the US, Nigeria,
Yes.
Ghana. That
we do have advanced democracy, because before we even go to vote, we already know who is winning. It's advanced. It's really advanced. And in that case, I want you to understand that I am not refusing the regional councillors from being elected. I am just crying foul that there is a problem and the people will not be well represented.
same way the senators did not,
Yes.
according to what you're saying.
Yes, because as long as the people have this cry in their heart that they were unable to vote for the municipal councillors, it will be clear that the municipal councillors whom the people did not vote for will be voting for regional councillors. And that already makes the whole process problematic.
Okay.
And that, to me, is where I have an issue. But as long as that the constitutional rights are being executed, I am okay with it that there should be a regional council. But we should be able to say, let this regional council be given the power it needs to work independently, to work, because we are claiming that this particular election is going to give autonomy to regions.
Okay.
And if they are being voted to have autonomy in regions, and we still have governors who are going to be dictating to them, then there is a problem. And I think that something needs to be done in order for us to have effective and accelerated decentralization.
Diwum Emmanuel, I come to you. We are. Let's look at the major national dialogue. It was held on the 30th of September 2019, under the pretext that it has to look into the problems of Cameroon, and specifically to the ongoing Anglophone crisis, and propose meaningful solutions to the President of the Republic, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, and #1 statesman, to give results as far as that is concerned. Regional Council was part of the discussion that there should be accelerated decentralization, and structure should be put in place to help this accelerated decentralization get it right of place. And equally, that the special status should be implemented, and that the Regional Council will help now to come and define the content of the special status. Do you see a green light at the end of the tunnel after today's election, which is ongoing across the nation, with key emphasis on the North and Southwest region?
You see, in Cameroon, to me, I will start by defining my position as a person and as a citizen. Election in itself, I have no problem with election. But how, when the election is held, is what makes it problematic. You see, I've discovered that I weep for my country, like other people are weeping. I've discovered that the only thing that can be promised and done in Cameroon is elections. And you will discover that This is a fatal channel for siphoning all taxpayers' money. If there was a possibility that there will be election for people to just line up on the road one morning and then Tuesday they vote again, there will be elections every day, and it will certainly hold. But there is one thing you mentioned there that I've never been very okay with it. When you talk about special status, who is giving special status to who? When you talk about giving special status to Northwest and Southwest, these are two entities who came into a union equally. Equal status. No one has the right to offer a special status to another one. No. When we fail, let's say we have failed.
Well, the government says that after the first October 1961 independence of British Southern Cameroon, there was immediate reunification, and after that context, the Fumban Conference redefined the constitution of the nation, that both nations will come together under a federal system. But as time went on, we saw the transformation, and we saw that we later on moved to 1972 referendum, in which it was a unitary state, and the referendum was voted, which becomes law, and that it is based on that law that by the people. The people,
was it voted at the assembly?
That after the referendum, that based on the fact that we decided unity, and that because of the specificity of the people of North and Southwest region, there is need to give them that special status in which they can decide.
Well, special status is fake, so I don't want to go into it. I want to come back to the question you asked. Do I see green lights
at the end of the tunnel after today's regional council election?
No.
Especially in the
elections in
crisis.
Cameroon. I say it and I add weight to my words. Elections in Cameroon has and shall never solve the problems of Cameroon. If we are where we are today, with the aggravated situation in Northwest and Southwest, remember it is provoked by election in this country. Except otherwise, the bad-willed leaders who are seated out there watching at us want to claim that we are not following up events in our country. We have been following up the chain of events in our country. And the chain of events in our country has proven beyond every reasonable doubt that elections in this country has been the cause of the problems at where we are today. Let me take you down memory lane. 2018 was election. That was contested, has been contested. Ongoing now, it is still contested, and people are in prison because they are contesting. Do you know the title that the regime in place gave to the election? Mandate of great opportunities. Till today, I don't find one single green opportunity that I can place my finger on. Not at all. I stand to be proven otherwise.
So you say mandate, but
the
government will tell you that they have created the disarmament, dismobilization. They have created the national.
You know that the person heading the national whatsoever disarmament was once banned from leaving the corners, the boundaries of this country. What happened with that ban? How was it treated?
The government will say because of the magnanimity of the head of state.
I can see. Now I understand. When people call it a banana republic at times, I feel like laughing. But when I really reason and I see into the activity, the events of my country, I agree with them in total. Cameroon has no way forward, has no way, but it has many ways backward. This country.
But what
Listen, you have asked the question.
What quantify the fact that
regional elections? Let me answer your question. I started from 2018. That is aggravated the crisis in the country, from north to south, east to west. You see, after that, they smuggled in a way they are very much used to. Legislative elections went on. People are councillors today. That the day that legislative election was going on, those people were in Douala, some of them were in Yaoundé, but they are councillors today in Boom, Fundong, Njinikom, Bello. Who voted them? How were they voted? And they told us that this was in a bid to hand over power to the people, so that power should be so that decentralization should be accelerated. And we are still waiting to see what this, and all these people are not in their areas of command till date. Be it the mayors, be it the parliamentarians, and the senators that I don't even want to talk about, because senators, the Senate is the worst structure that has ever happened to Cameroon. That's why I've often said the Senate, if the Senate is dissolved today, at least, my heavy heart will lighten a bit. So, like you said, you are asking me if there will be green light in the tunnel. I want to tell you that there will be no green light, because even as of now, the SDO will still command these people.
Okay.
The governor will still command them, and the governor takes powers directly from Yaoundé. So, what I am saying in effect is that regional elections will write home little or no success at all.
So there is no green light at the end
There
of the
is
tunnel?
no green light, and no election in Cameroon under this present dispensation will ever take Cameroon out of the mud pool.
Okay. I come now to you, Song Derrick. The regional council election, which is ongoing today, as we speak right now, councillors are heading to the poll to cast their ballot to an election that seemingly is one party dominated, but for some few municipal councils, that is, and areas, constituencies, that is led by opposition like PCRM and other few oppositions like the Social Democratic Front. And when we look at this context in which we are, can we say that the regional council election will bring us a meaningful definition as to the content of the special status, and will help us understand the accelerated decentralization, because they said the structures are now being put in place as far as accelerated decentralization is concerned?
Land of promise, land of glory. You know, some questions are funny, and sometimes I don't know how to really approach them. Cameroon is a country that likes playing with slogans, just like the president has been playing with our mentality from the Cameroon of great ambition, Cameroon of greater realization, Cameroon of great opportunity, and now we are talking of Cameroon of emergence in 2035.
But
every other day we get up to realize we are at the same position and nothing is shaking, even when we are governed by people who claim to have the force of experience. You know, when a system is moved by people who cannot move, you don't expect the system to move. That's a sad situation, moved by people, unmoved movers. They can't move, and so the system is not bound to move in any form. You know, when we talk of these regional elections, it makes me want to laugh, and it concludes the saying that we are truly in a comedy republic, a republic that makes people laugh every day, even when we find no reason to laugh. You know, the earlier the government comes to the reality, to understand that every other election is a sham, is a scam, and is a failure to what we are undergoing. You will be talking about electing regional councillor in a system where the president has already ordered for the disbursement of sums of money to support chiefs who will only vote for the same system, and with the sums of money that are brought a ridicule to the same chiefs. We asked ourselves.
Yeah, we'll be coming to that.
We
that will
asked
be a
ourselves
discussion.
How true, how fair, and how transparent is the fake elections that we think will change this country.
But how do you call an election mandated by the Constitution, which is the highest law of the land, fake election, which we all agree that such an election must take place in a democratic country, which Cameroon is pride itself as an advanced democracy?
You know, we will not deny the fact that it is but normal for elections to take place. We are not against elections, and we don't think we will ever be against elections. But the manner of organization of election in Cameroon is a sham. It's a scam. That I will not want to drag it, because you have an election where before you go into the election, you know who wins. When you use the word, when we know when you use the word that it is seemingly dominated by the ruling political party, I cancel the word seemingly. Seemingly lightens the reality on ground, because it is not seemingly, it is dominated by that, and
so
it is reality.
PCRM is not part of the ruling party, SDF and other parties
when you call
that are in
PCRM, the president of a political party who calls on the president of a republic to declare state of emergency to the people he thinks are the same citizen that he claimed to want to lead, then I think that is that's just a sponsored wing. You know, I've told
but you don't have evidence to show that this is wings.
Jarvis, don't force words into my mouth. I've told you that Cameroon's kind of politics is that politics where we create mushroom political parties. How can you be in a country that have over 300 political parties?
That's democracy now.
What is the use of...
That's democracy.
Oh, God. What are they democracy?
The constitution
No.
gives room, the 1990 constitution, gives room for Cameroonians to open political parties, Cameroonians to have freedom of association, freedom of speech, and freedom of the press.
Yes.
So they are according to the constitution.
Cameroon that has freedom of speech, and there is no freedom after speech. We could say what we want. There is no democracy in this country. What we have is a window dressing, and the political parties we have are regime-sponsored political parties that makes the international world and the national authority to think that there is democracy. Because I want to be sincere with you, the Cameroon government is more interested in pleasing the international community than pleasing her citizens. And that is why, even with the present crisis in this country that has rocked this nation and has crippled us to the point that we are cap in hand every day to the international, to the World Bank to beg for funds, we still deny and claim we can walk, whereas we are crawling. Nothing is moving, and we cannot deny that fact. We cannot deny that simple fact that Cameroon is failing, and this very regional election, it is going to be another one step to the wrong direction, because we've been taking this kind of step. The government has taken the kind of step. In your introduction, you talked about the 30th of September 2019 national dialogue. Remember, when Cameroon went into the national dialogue, their aim was to resolve the problems, and everybody hailed the magnanimity of the head of state for convening a failed national monologue. That he spoke to himself. He called people who could only accept him to talk to them. Today, it is 1 year, 2 months after. We are still having guns smoking in the street.
Okay.
And then we now send people to go down to the field and vote. The question is, will the voting end the gunshot? And even those who are going to vote, are they not still going to join the bands of the hand clappers of the same people who are in Yaoundé?
Good day, Jarvis. It's no longer a secret that elections has changed nothing in Cameroon. The regional election, the one-man race is another way of wasting taxpayers' money. There is no hope in Cameroon under the CPDM regime. Ngole Hene from Alimbe. This other one reads to say, happy Sunday to you all. Nice program. Thank you. This message reads, it says, good day to the House of Commons. Regional election has no point to the Anglophone crisis. It's coming from Sarek in Yaoundé. Professor Mark Anthony, let me come back to you. Regional council elections, like any other election, the constitution or the electoral code give provisions that candidates are given money to campaign or to canvass for vote, to look for materials, either printing of stickers, banners, and press outings and transportation to their different rallies and political game-changing strategies. This time around, the chiefs from Kmer division, under the president of Konye Chiefs Conference, Eseme Elias of Kokimbuma, spoke to my media prime microphone with thankful Sudan, saying that the sum of money that was sent to them to campaign is an insult to their political ambition, that 450,000 francs CFE was disbursed to the entire chiefs of Kmer division who are going in for regional council election. According to Chief Eseme Elias of Kokumbuma, he says that if that amount, 450,000 francs, is divided among all the chiefs in the entire Kmer division, one chief would take home 5,000 francs to go and campaign, and that 5,000 francs, it means that a chief, in his word, he says a chief is taking 5,000 francs not to return back to his village again. What can we make of this line, that a chief is taking 5,000, may take 5,000 francs not to return to his village? Just because of 5,000 francs, a chief may not return to his village. Is he indirectly accepting the reality that there is a problem and that there is need for them to resolve the problem, or that their problem is just to get the money and not to solve the problem?
You see, when we have chiefs who have lost alignment with their people, those are the kind of cries you hear. Because if these chiefs per se were actually going in for the so-called election they want to go in for the sake of the people, they would not have been thinking of campaigning. They want to campaign what? First, I want to say something. That body is not a constitutional body. That body that was created in the name of House of Chief is a body that came out of the national dialogue. So it is not a constitutional body, and there is no particular amount of finance that has been voted or placed that will be used in order for them to use. So if they give them 100 francs, they should collect it if they want money. So in that case, I am just completely...
Is it that other political parties like the councillors were giving you sums of money?
The councillors are not chiefs.
To them, they were just giving 400...
I will still repeat this. Constitutionally and in relation to the electoral code, there is nothing for the chiefs. And the chief, the House of Chiefs as per se, is not constitutional. And it has no provisions in the electoral code to provide anything for them. As I said, I'll repeat it again, it is a body that was created out of the so-called national dialogue that took place in 2019. Out of that particular dialogue, this idea of special status came, which resulted to the creation of the House of Chiefs, which will also permit the chiefs all over the territory to make sure they vote also. But that provision is not found in the constitution of this country. And so whosoever instituted it has power over it. And if he has power over it, whatsoever he gives, those who are vying for it should be able to collect it without asking questions. And so if chiefs think that they want to play politics, then they should accept what has been given to them. I am shocked and surprised that most of them are complaining. Why will you sell the destiny of your people for politics? We discussed this thing the other last time here, and we said here, it is but normal that chiefs and funds should be political, but not partisan. And if you see people have become partisan, they are the ones that are crying. Because they thought that this is a means through which they are going to make huge sums of money. But there is no constitutional provision for them to have anything. There is nothing in the electoral code that permits them to have anything. So whatsoever they give them, they should collect it with two hands, because they have become beggars. The whole idea of setting a House of Chief, if you look at it, the House of Chiefs in the 1950s and 1960s was not this kind of House of Chiefs we are talking of today. It was not a House of Chiefs that was ruled and run by the government. It was a house of chief that existed to guide the people and to give suggestions to the ruling class on how to relate with their people. But today, this house of chiefs that is being set has nothing to do with how to relate with the people. It is focused on how they can feed their stomachs. Chiefs have become beggars, and they are running in for politics instead of working to see into it that they assist their people to solve the problems that they are undergoing right now. So, if the chief of what did you say is where again?
The president of Kmer Chiefs Conference, Seme Elias of Kokimboma.
He should stop complaining because he's a sellout. He has sold out himself. He's not supposed to be involved in politics. He's supposed to be fully involved in working with the people. And I say this to any chief anywhere, be it in the sultans in the north, be it in the east, be it in the south, be it wheresoever. Chiefs, if you have agreed to join politics, then play along with the game. Fit in the box.
Okay.
Do what you are told. Don't complain and come and disturb people's ears with rubbish. If they are giving you people, celebrate it, appreciate it.
5,000.
There are people who do not see 5,000.
Yeah.
And so if they have been able to see 5,000, they should celebrate it rather than come and make noise over the air and complaining.
Thank you very much, Professor Mark. We'll take on this orange advert, and when we come back, we'll move to other members of the panel. We'll take on this advert. When we come back, we'll continue with the program. Keep your messages coming in. Thank you very much for joining us. Chief of Kmer Chiefs Conference, the president of Kmer Chiefs Conference, Chief Seme Elias of Kokimboma, says the entire Meme division was given 450,000 francs CFA. The chiefs were given 450,000 francs CFA to campaign for the regional council election. And if divided by the entire number of chiefs, it means that a chief will take 5,000 francs not to go back to his village, according to what the chiefs I made mention talking to Tamfo Sidwan, my Media Prime chief correspondent in Kumba. Dimum Emmanuel, if you listen, what can you make of this move that 5,000 francs is given for chiefs to campaign for an election that is to determine the special status and the accelerated decentralization? Can we say that we are standing and limping and claiming to be standing tall?
You see, the chief is very right. He has only confirmed once more that his subjects are the items that he used to beat crisis. You see, he's very righteous. I think he's coming back home. He's coming back to his senses, and I appreciate him for coming out clear to say that, look, this government, we accepted to sell our people to you in return for money.
For 5,000?
No, listen. In return for money. Are you agreed? But today, we did not know that we were selling out these people to you just for 5,000. So it's very right. I think that's a way of confessing, public confession, that my people, as if I don't come back to the village because there's no way. I was thinking that they will give me lump sums. I will bank it somewhere. Then even when I run, I will eat it and the other generations. And that is what has eaten Cameroonians, the cankerworm that's written, right to the fabrics of all Cameroonians who claim to be in position. I face out from that question. Let me look at that topic. Our topic today was, can separatists impose lockdown affect the outcome of the election in Northwest?
We're coming to that.
No, please permit me to deal on that.
No, we'll be coming to that. I want us to charge this issue of campaigns with regional election, because the topic says regional election 2020. Now, can separatists? So I want us to finish with this regional election before coming to separatist activities, if it will affect the outcome of the elections.
Well,
We're looking at the campaigns of chiefs now of these regions.
no, the chiefs have nothing to cry. I buy the idea of Professor Ma. If there was a way for public flogging of these chiefs, I would have proposed it. They have nothing. They have
These are custodians of our culture.
Which culture? Which culture are they custodianing there?
Our
What are you
culture.
saying? What about, there are some of these chiefs who only resurfaced in their villages on the eve of this election. Because where they were dining and dancing, they told them that, look, we will protect you. Go back to your village, sell out these people to, and we will pay you high. You even saw some started paying with their own selves, with their lives, being kidnapped, humiliated, and you call that a chief? I say Cameroon in its entirety needs cleansing.
Okay.
Total cleansing.
Okay. Song Derrick, I want us to wrap up this before moving out to the separatist imposed lockdown. Song Derrick, 5,000 francs given per chiefs in Kmer division to canvass for vote, to go to the media and talk, to pay transportation, to fuel the car. Looking at all this context as exposed by the president of the Konya Chiefs Conference, Eseme Elias, is he indirectly raising an alarm that there is something wrong at the end of the tunnel, that the green light is far from being seen, far to be seen?
Thank you very much, Jarvis. I remember last time when we were discussing about this topic, should chief get involved into
Politics.
We did say here that chiefs are political beings, and by virtue of being humans and political beings, they should be involved in politics and not partisan politics. And at the same time, we decried the fact that some people we never thought could look at our chiefs and funds to the face can now spit on their faces. It's not a fault of the people. It is a fault of what you always laugh when I say that an economy that has been salarized, an economy that has turned to be a salary-oriented economy, where our chiefs can be put under the payment of risking death as low as 5,000 francs CFA. You know, everybody has a way he determines how much the cost of his life is. And if they have accepted to pledge, because one thing I will know is that money is coming from the magnanimity
Of the head of
state,
who is their president of the Chiefs Conference in Cameroon.
Fund of funds
And chiefs of chiefs.
So let's thank the head of state. We don't have two things
For
to do.
5,000 francs?
We should thank the head of state. Nobody sits in the house. Money is not harvested from the tree. So if they have decided to sow their right to the fund of funds as low as 5,000
They
francs,
seal their lips.
all we need to say is thanks to the head of state, the chiefs can now have 5,000 francs to carry out regional elections and facilitate activities. Because it is pathetic that the custodians of the people's tradition and culture gets to give out and give away that culture for as low as money that cannot pay monthly electricity bills.
It means that even you can fund the campaigns of all the chiefs in Kmer division.
So to say, because see, you know, Jarvis, we talk, you know, I'm from southern Cameroon, precisely from the northern region, and you can't talk to the fawn of my village looking at him to the face.
But we have seen
You
we have seen the
I'm-
lion
I'm-
of the
I'm-
tribe of Judah in
I'm
fawn
explaining something to you.
being
Please
so
get it, Jarvis.
kidnapped.
You can't talk to the fawn of my village looking to his face. In fact, to see the fawn, it could take you years to see him. But it has come a time where people can even sit in media houses and talk ills about the fund. youths as young as 20 could talk and insult the chiefs and phones, which is unheard of.
Even kidnap them.
People will arrest and kidnap phones and chiefs. This is unheard of. It is because the people have come to the senses that the selling price that they put them up, the auction price that they put them out,
It's too low.
is too low. And even the people who put them on auction have realized they have been used to play Mamako.
Okay, thank you.
It is a matter of now, for before, for back. And some of them are looking for a way to repent. Like seriously, there are people who want to repent. The other day I read on a newspaper and who says that somebody tears the BR regime to shreds. Is it Dr. Former?
Christopher Fomion.
He tears the BR regime to shreds. I read another article that said former Prime Minister Philemon finally speaks the truth about there are people who have swallowed it until they can't, and nothing will serve us out of this crisis except truth. If we don't look at each other face to face and tell the separatists you've wronged us, and tell the republic that the republic has wronged us, then we will keep oscillating around the same point. And if you use the same method to that created a problem to solve that problem, the problem will keep multiplying.
Good day, House of Commons. I love what you guys are talking about. Well, I would like to say elections in Cameroon is just a sham and can't lead us anywhere. Chiefs have lost their respect and sense of responsibilities by playing with politics to be answering to Yaoundé under the title "Yes Sir." It's just a disgrace to be seeing my chiefs bowing down to the stranger and not his tribe men who looked up to them. It's coming from Tabe Romeo, aka Onowu in Kumba. This one read, it says, good day. We should conduct a referendum in Northern Southwest to stop the bloodshed. That is the only magic to the solution. Stop this altering. It's coming from Kingsley in Kumbu. My brother, this CPDM don't have the people at heart. They just want to destroy this country and looking for their stomach. My brother, this please keep your messages Republican. This other one coming from Echo Marvin in Kumbai says, good morning to the house. The ongoing regional elections taking place today in Yaoundé will not solve the problem. The Anglophone problem began with Aijo and it is worse today under Bia with gross marginalization. The problem must be solved before the elections. Bia cannot solve the problem. The youths are angry. The youths are in total frustration. The solution of the problem is that it's coming from Ekoma Marvin from Kumba. The Ekoma Marvin, this election is not taking place in Yaoundé now. It's taking place in all the territory, even now in Kumba. Thanks very much for the program. My take on this issue is that the chiefs should resign because they have they have sold us, and the so-called Anglophone workers should live in Yaoundé to leave the government, and then the people die in vain. It's coming from Ba John in Mabanda. This one reads, it says, good day, Mr. Tamai. Your panelists, please, can somebody tell me what the function of regional delegates will be when we still have due? Thank you again for your SMS. This one reads, it says, sir, those to be disappointed, they are so party. Which campaign is the chief still talking about? Is coming from Freaks in Tico. Professor Mark, let's dive straight to the last part of this segment. Separatists impose a lockdown. Will it has an effect on the regional council elections that is ongoing as we speak right now in all the the regions, in all the divisions within the North and Southwest region, baptized to be the Anglophone regions?
I do think that this is the election. This is an election that is going to go hitch-free. An election that will not be disturbed by nothing.
But there is a lockdown.
Whether there is a lockdown or not, the reason why it cannot work is because those councillors had already been ferried to where they were supposed to vote before they even did their lockdown. For example, in Fako, they were supposed to vote in Limbe. All the councillors were already in Limbe. And still, I remember on Monday, I think day before yesterday, it was Thursday, I traveled to Boya and back. There was nothing like lockdown. So if I can travel from Douala to Boya, then it means that to leave Boya to Limbe was not a problem. So that will not stop anything from happening. And for example, if you want to ask me what about Wum, in Wum there will be a normal voting because they will be voting in Wum town itself. All the councillors had been ferried there to do their voting. The same way they voted for the senators, the same way they are voting for the regional councillors. So there will be, the whole idea of lockdown has no effect. And I don't know why people keep on insisting on a strategy that is no more working.
But in
and
Kumba, there's a
total
shutdown in Kumba, total shutdown in Balinda.
That shutdown has nothing to do.
Key areas.
That shutdown is instead disturbing the layman who is struggling to get his bread to eat. Instead of disturbing the people who are going to vote, it will not stop anything. The vote will take place. And so it is a bad strategy that has failed, but these young guys, they keep on insisting to torment the lives of the denizens of the various environment. You can't impose lockdown on people for 4 days when that is, they are supposed to open their shops and make their money, while in other places businesses are going on. That's wrong. It's a wrong strategy, and it has nothing to do with the election. Because, as I said, it is not an election that it is a universal suffrage that every one of us needs to go and vote. If it was that, it would have been possible to hinder it. But this is an election that is limited to regional, to municipal councillors. And these municipal councillors, they are not going, there's no way that you will stop them from going. They had received what they needed for their transportation, and they had gone for voting.
Is it not a way of the separatists creating an opportunity to just attack people under the pretext that a lockdown was imposed and you went and voted as a councillor?
That is what I'm saying. As we are talking right now, there is a priest that was shot in...
And a seminarian.
Yes, and a seminarian. They are in the hospital suffering in Akum, in the northwest. That is to tell you how stupid these guys have turned. You can't be shooting people. Is it the priest who is going to vote? It's not a priest. This is a way to punish people, which they keep on insisting on. That's a way to, I don't know whether they lost their minds or what. Because in reality, this is not the path they should be taking anymore. Lockdowns are not fruitful. So why hold on with something that has failed? The people are angry already because on sincere basis, their lives have been reduced to nothing. People are suffering economically because of the so-called lockdowns, which are not helping the progress of the so-called revolution.
Thank you, Professor Mark. In post-lockdown, the womb, Emmanuel, by the Anglophone separatists, is this not a window of opportunity for them? Because they may think that the common man will not go out, so they are targeting the councillors to see those who go out so they can easily come and kidnap them for ransom?
That has been their game.
Because some people are saying that it will not affect the elections, but maybe it's the economy, it's a strategy, it's an economic strategy.
Even for one bit, it will never affect it.
How?
Never. Listen, tell me any previous election that a polling station has been attacked by these boys. If this election was in the quarter where our old mothers, our old fathers were to be selling their coconut, their plantain, that they will attack it. But I tell you, this election will go hitch free, without any sound of a bullet around where the voting is taking place. I want to tell you that it's regrettable. It's really regrettable because in as much as we know that our 38 years regime, the senile regime, has put us into our bended knees.
But how do you call a regime?
It is a senile regime.
The senile regime, because this is a regime that has a mandate to the people. We're given the constitutional mandate in 2018 under 76%, and you call it a senile regime.
Do I need to remind you that this same election was supervised by fake Transparency International? And that is why it is because of the credibility of such election that Cameroonians have lost total confidence to the regime in place. And that is because of this lack of credibility that I think all elections in Cameroon are 100% fraudulent. They are marked by 100% fraud by the CPDM regime.
I want to ask you a question.
No, before you come in with a question, please don't divert me. I am telling you that this election, I come back to the word Sina, the Sina regime. My co-panelist a while ago said, a country cannot be moved by people who cannot move.
Unmoved movers?
Yes, never moves a nation. And you see that he's perfectly correct, because that word goes down to what I say, Sina regime. And now I come back to tell you that these elections, remember, it is taking place only in the headquarters of the divisions. I don't want to quote the name of a hotel in my place, where for 6 days now, councillors have been lodged there with military all around.
So
why wouldn't they vote? Will the so-called Aba boys pass in that hotel? They know. They are aware that this is where they are lodged. Even the sound of a match will not sound. But the regrettable part of it is that we, or the population, the poor population that they are using as their shield, is the one paying the heavy price. In as much as we keep blaming this government, the Amber Boys have taken the wrong course. And the wrong course is paying dearly on both them and the population. So, I say it, I'm very succinct and frank with you. The elections will go hitch-free, the CPDM election, because no other opposition
but it's run by the state of Cameroon and not the CPDM.
No. Look, I've told you that any party you call an opposition party to me now is a satellite party. CPDM satellite party. I think I am trying to see only one party in Cameroon that stands for opposition. So this CPDM party will go hitch-free, because 6 days in this hotel they have been fed by the CPDM barons. They have been given their cash money by these barons, and they will be well protected by our military, paid with our own taxpayers' money to protect the CPDM regime. So the election will go hitch-free. Nothing will happen anywhere.
Okay.
And at the end, it is only after that innocent people shall pay the price. Like you rightly said, it is a means, it's a window to pass through, and then do what they are very good at. The
economy of war.
Yes.
Okay.
Do what they are very good at doing.
There is no election in Bamenda today. It's by Sanslin.
Where you are sitting in your house and talking about it.
The elections are taking place at this regional council election. Is not like the general elections that takes place at different polling stations in different secondary and primary school and community halls and centers are located. This is an indirect universal elections that take place. Good day, Jarvis. I am very sorry for this nation. It's coming from an anonymous sender. My name is Mr. Randy Kim. Want to thank you guys there. The solution is that the only solution is that the president should step down. Good day, guys. In Cameroon is good day, guys. Elections in Cameroon is just a means to waste taxpayers' money and a means to fool the international community that is of which that is not the case. Divine in Bamenda. Good day to the house. 5,000 francs was too much for the chiefs. I would have been very happy if they were giving 500 francs CFA. It's coming from Kmer Jude in Yaoundé. This one reads, a good day, guys. Why are the chiefs complaining? Let them continue sending motions of support to the regime in power. They have disgraced themselves. It's coming from Austin in Boya. This other reads says, maybe the guy have taken his own 5,000 francs CFA. This one reads, a good day, Jarvis. Regional elections have no point. I stand with Mr. Derrick. The chief should be satisfied with the so-called government and stop polluting the environment. Their right has been sold. I think it is time for them to confess. The youth are dying. The economy is down. God is the greatest. God is the greatest I know. My nation, God is the greatest I know. Good is, I know that one day my nation will change positively. Amen. To my sacred prayer. It's coming from Victor from Douala. This one which is a good day to the House of Commons. See a ghost town or no ghost town election will hold. So we shouldn't impose 4 days ghost town because of 1 day election that will still take place even if there's ghost town. It's coming from an anonymous sender. This one which says Jarvis, tell Prof to talk like tell Prof to talk like someone who is not of the party. Organize
but here of the party.
Please, if you are sending us message, be Republican in your Republican nature of this republic. I'll come back to you, Song Derrick. I don't know if we are looking at the separatists impose lockdown. Separatists always do impose lockdown in terms of this, but the elections always move hitch-free. Now, is it not time for us to look at, again, another motives why these lockdowns are called? Maybe the economy of it, to see those who go out to kidnap them, to say, default the lockdown, let's raise revenue, let's use these elections as a revenue, than stating that we want to disrupt the election, as the case is.
You know, like I said in the government part of life, that if you use the wrong method to solve a problem, you get the wrong solution. And I think that, like the separatists, they too have been using a very wrong method. They may have their raison d'etre for doing what they do, but we all believe that they are punishing the wrong people. They are punishing the wrong set of people. You cannot lock down people home for 4 days and then you expect them to cope. They are not paid for being locked down. Rather, they lost more for being locked down. And the unfortunate thing is that if one person votes, it's 100%. That's the unfortunate part. So even if everyone is locked down and one person successfully votes for the winning party, it is 100% vote. And the party in place has all the machineries it takes to smuggle people by hook or by crook to vote for their winning. So the lockdown is, let me use this word which will not fall into context, it's impotent, it's not productive, and will not give the result. Rather, what we should be thinking now is, how do we hold the Yaoundé cabal to the table? What do we do to make the Yaoundé regime understand that round tables can solve problems better than round bullets? How do we make the Yaoundé regime to understand that this problem we have in Cameroon cannot be solved by elections? For them to understand that if we solve this problem, people will fight to vote. But unfortunately, there seems to be somebody in the middle that is enjoying the goodies of this mess that Cameroon has found itself into. There seem to be some people that are enjoying the sufferings of others. There are some sadists in the system that seems to enjoy to see others suffer. If not, this crisis would have ended. We've heard people who told the international organizations that everything is under control, everything is fine, everything is back to normal, and people are not suffering. But we have seen the same people who said everything is under control receive goods from the international organization to share to people who are normal, who are not having a problem. And we see no problem in that. That is where we start getting saddened. But one thing I will call to tell the separatists is that you cannot be fighting to protect a people and then you make those same people you are fighting to protect to suffer more. Remember the buoyancy that is in the French-speaking part of Cameroon today gives them a lot of laissez-faire, a lot of freedom. But the people you are fighting to protect, you've locked them home. We are told that when the phone of Saul was kidnapped, he promised under duress that he was not going to take part. But he has voted, he has exercised his right and vote. And we are asking what was the raison d'etre, what was the reason? And it boils down to the same thing, Jarvis, that I will tell you, that the problem in Cameroon is created by those who have refused to acknowledge that there is a possible solution. Because if this government was open enough, they should have heard the international organization. They should have heard the intellectual speakers in Cameroon. His Eminence Cardinal Tumi tried to organize the all Anglophone conference and was denied. And if that conference would have gone through without being adulterated, then they would have had a common stand to solve this problem. But people who have had a failed 26 years decentralization plan has now fooled us who did not go to school to add accelerated decentralization in front of it to make us feel like it's something new.
Okay.
Decentralization will not solve the problem of the dying Cameroonians.
I wish
it is a roundtable dialogue, discussion on the form of state, and then an agreement between two independent entities that came together to exist as good brothers and sisters.
Thank you, Song Derek.
They should not make it to look at, to accept with authors of
Thank you.
who created what God has put asunder.
Thank you. I wish I were a chief too in this great nation, Cameroon, so that the head of state could give me a sum as huge as 5,000 francs CFA. It's coming from an anonymous sender. This other one reads, nobody should, the Amber Boys have done their, it's not clear, the message is not clear. This other one reads, it says, good day guys, I am Van Ostino, enjoying your program. My doubt is, how can the government be trying to make things right without preparing people's mind in North and Southwest? I think we are not fools. Let them start negotiation from the right score. If not, I see them as toothless bulldogs. I am in Yaoundé. This other one reads, it says, good day Jarvis and the educated crew on board. The chiefs should be happy with the 5,000 francs. I was thinking of 1,000 francs each. Those Amber Boys have lost focus. They should go and attack the divisional headquarters where these elections are taking place. It's coming from Louise in Tico. We are slowly but surely coming to an end of today's edition of our program. I want to thank all those of you who are watching us online, who are commenting on the program. Professor Mark, before we take leave of you, your last word.
I'm of the opinion that it is time for my brothers and sisters who picked up arms to, in one way or the other, look for ways to stop inflicting pain on the population which they rose over. The idea of lockdown is no more working. There was a time when it was working. I know somebody said that it is meant to use as a means to give awareness to the international community. I'm shocked and surprised that we are still hoping and believing on an international community that is practically having no concern for Africans. So I ask that you guys should stop the so-called idea of lockdown and try to see how to empower the people, and so that they can earn economically rather than suffer. And I believe that the regime in Yaoundé has already seen how much the people have suffered, and I think it is time for them to sit also and negotiate on how to solve this problem rather than keep on insisting on a military solution. We are no more in that. The elections and elections and elections in Cameroon have practically changed nothing, but we expect that something should be done that can change things. Thank you very much.
On the 9th, where are we meeting?
Thank you very much, Jarvis. On the 9th, 10, and 11, we are calling on the population of Cameroon and not just Douala to join us in Bonaberry Deka Hotel, where we'll be having a Panafest conference. Yes, Ancien Route. We'll be having a Panafest conference. A conference is a Pan-African conference and cultural festival that we'll be organizing, where we intend to actually display African culture. We'll be having communities from the Nigerian community, Senegalese community, Malian, and others, including the Cameroon community, coming together to display what we have. But before then, we'll be having great minds will be talking to us, like Plo Lumumba, Dr. Sinkala, then the African Union presiding officer, Kode Dennis will be there. They'll be talking to us. I don't know if I can say if people want to get to access that particular conference, we have a sum that we have put up, which will be able to permit people to come. That's 15,000 francs, and you can get to. And if you want to get to us and you are unable to get to us, you can get through this number on your screen, and they'll give you an access to us. You get to us. It is going to be great. And the last day of the program is going to be an excellence award evening, where we'll be awarding great minds, of beginning from government officials down to persons who have been able to contribute something of their excellence during the year. Thank you very much.
Demon Emmanuel, before I take leave of you, your last word briefly.
Yes, our country, when I look at the book, Douglas Achingale, The Wrong Decision, I see that many wrong decisions have been made. It is time for us to come back to the right decisions. And the right decision at this particular time, I think guns doesn't speak.
Yes, unsolved problems.
Guns don't speak. Our lips, the truth right from our heart at this moment is what will set us free from the deep waters. So, from both sides, the guns should go down. And one word to the so-called Amber Boys. Please, you people have diverted your attention. Have a rethink and think about how to come back to peace. Have a nice day, all day.
Derek, before we take leave of you, last word.
Thank you very much, Mai Jarvis, for inviting me to this program. I agree this time around with George Orwell in Animal Farm, when he makes us understand that the leadership class, he classified them as pigs. And satiristically, I understand why George Orwell has to use the leaders to be pigs. And to the Cameroon government in particular, I want to make it very clear that the regional councils in this context will have no power, because they have no power over schools, they have no power over judiciary, hospitals, and they will sit down and discuss about nothing. It's a fact. And this same thing is going to be with too much bureaucracy.
Time is out.
And it will only open up forums for big wigs of the regime to embezzle more currency. Therefore, let us look at what the problem is. And then when we solve the original problem, everything will fall in place.
Okay.
If not, it remains a farce.
I think Amber Boys is worse. Amber Boys, they are worse than bad governance. Let them drop their guns or face death penalty from the military. No independent. It's coming from Lucas from DOP. This one reads, Sir, how is your church, the mother church? Thank you very much. This one reads, it says, please, what is education for? Please, what is the election for? It's coming from someone in Manfe. This one reads, it says, only prayers can help Cameroon. It is Zeno from Bamenda. Good day is Marco from Limbe. Separatists don't impose lockdown. Separatists do not impose lockdown to stop the election, but to create awareness to the general public. Good day, dear panelists. The chiefs are not worthy to be called the traditional rulers because they are answerable to not to the people, but they are answerable to the Bias regime. Mundemba chiefs in the division, Mundemba chiefs in that divisions were kept in confined place waiting for this day. How chiefs will vote. Thank you. So even not pay chiefs, not defend their tradition. So 5,000 is even too much. Thank you. Because of time constraint, we may not be able to read all of the messages. www.btmediagroup.net is the website. BT Media Group on YouTube. BT Media Group on YouTube. You can follow all of our programs that have been uploaded or being streaming live on our YouTube channel. My Media Prime on Facebook. We have 7 channels. My Media Prime, My Media Gospel. We have RB, other channels here on My Media Prime platform. This program comes to you every Sunday at exactly 12 p.m. at exactly 12. We have this program to you rebroadcast 10:30 today Sunday and rebroadcast tomorrow at exactly 1:30. We have a rebroadcast of this program. My name is Tamai Jarvis. I leave you with this. No matter the matter, what matter is your matter. No matter the matter, what matter is your matter. And what should matter for you is that you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. You can kill the teller and not the truth. The truth is God. If you kill the teller, the truth remains to haunt you. Thanks you, Christian Eli. Thanks you, Desmond, and all who have taken our time to ensure the effective production of this program. Goodbye from the town of Douala, Cameroon's economic capital. Bye-bye from Fengu Jombange.